Yes. Yes, that's the one. Uh-huh. It's the
Okay,
less complicated one. Yeah.
right. So I've got a laser pointer, so you tell me what aspect you want, and I'll
Mm.
show it with my pointer, okay?
Uh, so you'd like me to begin then today,
Yes,
Nicole?
yes.
Okay. All right. Well, um, first of all, thank you, teammates, for inviting me to do this today, and I'm pleased to try. Um, uh, Being an Aquarian myself, it's a little out of the box, perhaps, but what I tried to do just briefly today with a short amount of time that we might have is to synthesize some ideas that were really starting to come in. And if any of you might want to stay after, I'd be glad to address any questions you might have that I might have missed, or I'd be glad to even speak to if you have any other questions. But thank you.
Can we make
Um,
it any bigger?
I'm sorry.
Make it any bigger.
Yeah, that would be good.
Oh,
That would be good.
make it bigger.
Mhm.
Okay, just a minute.
While she's doing that, I want you to all take a look, please, at the amazing configuration this chart is. That's a whole separate subject that I would be glad to address at some future time. It's called the bowl configuration. We are a bowl, and I want you to keep that in mind as I speak on that subject just briefly today.
Um,
Hmm. Geometrically. Yep. It's kind of a rare one.
okay.
Hmm.
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Siobhan. Okay. All right. Well, to get going then, um, I'm I'm supposed to be speaking mainly on progressions today, but from a little different way than it's a subject that can get kind of technical and whatever. I just kind of want to touch on the basics and to begin. Um, Progressions, if you want to think of them, are kind of like the scenes behind the play. That's the way I kind of perceive them. They're like the evolution, or if you want to take those first four letters, the loveolution, Loveebol, the loveolution over time of our soul in any one lifetime. And so when we look at them, we think in those terms. The inner planets, the moon especially, many astrologers consider to be the most important of the progressions. 90% of what we find in astrology about ourselves and our movement through usually is considered from the transits. But again, the progressions are slower over time, but they give kind of the basic framework for the evolution or the evolution of your soul. So it's a day for a year, basically, pretty simple. If you have your own chart, you can even do it yourself. But of course, if you want to go to something like AstroSeek or Mindfire or any of the great places out there that will give you your chart, that's possible too. Okay, let me skip around here. Our chart has the moon, if I am correct, here at 12 of Pisces, right? Okay. Well, what I'm going to do first, then I'm going to I'll back this up later, but I'm going to start with something I think is kind of interesting. The symbolic, called the Sabian symbols, the symbolic meaning behind any degree. It's kind of like a look at the possibilities of that particular degree, and usually comes in a little bit of a sequence. The degree before that one, which would be 11, is called seeking illumination. And that could be um, the background for where we are now. The moon representing, as an astute astrologer, an esoteric astrologer, William Meter has said just recently in a reminder, interview that I was looking back on. He said, the moon in anybody's chart, and especially now in a group chart, is it's actually esoterically what we're supposed to be leaving behind, or that's one possibility, or incorporating in a new way because we didn't do enough of it before. So those are two ways of kind of looking at the moon at any time. It's considered esoterically the dead planet, but it does leave behind, of course, a great deal of refuse, and that can be turned into anything that we create from that. So 11 degrees seeking illumination may have been the past of our particular history together as a group or whatever. 12 degrees itself is an examination of initiates, is the Sabian symbol for that particular one, which I found kind of interesting. But astrologers say that when you have an actual degree, as this 12 is, which again is part of the past perhaps, you are supposed to go up one to the 13. So whenever you are pursuing this on your own, you need to remember that if something's at 12 degrees, you read the Sabian symbol for 13. So I'll apply that to the ascendant later too, which is 26 of Aquarius, if I'm correct. So the 13th degree, interestingly enough, I found was a sword in a museum. And the explanation that I kind of came up with for that from various sources represents the will aspect of love. It's described as sharpening the mind and projecting forward with a purpose. I'm sorry, I'm hearing something in the background. Is it just me? Okay.
No, I was
Okay.
nodding.
Oh.
Nodding with my
Oh, I
voice.
heard you nodding.
Yes, that
Oh,
sounds good.
I hope it's in the right direction. Thank you. Okay. Yes. So there we go. There I found that such an interesting trio of past, present, and possible future. A sword in a museum, the will aspect of the love. Okay. It represents really to develop a strong intention, and also the sword representing that which will also prevent intrusive energies. We may be faced with some challenges, which all groups may be in this turning over of the ages here that we're going through, and with this new dispensation of bringing the will in with the love aspect and so forth. So that's enough about that for now. But as I say, there's so much more. It's hard to, kind of filter it down. So let me go back here and go on. Okay. No, so the progressions themselves, for now, as I said, the progressions for the outer planets, that's something again for a future time, but because we are talking about a 1-year-old chart here, the outer planets have not moved that much. So if we want to talk about beyond the moon, which we won't have time to this time due to the rest of us, but the Mercury would be next, and Venus and Mars, we could explore those as well. But the moon and the ascendant are the ones I wanted to cover today, just a little bit. The nodes are also interesting as they progress, and our nodes, yeah, let me see here. I don't want to lose my train of thought. Okay. Most importantly, when we look at the progressed moon, which is, as I say, 12 of Virgo, it moves 12 to 14 years per year. So we're going to be looking at here during the year of 2025, we'll be looking at towards the end of Virgo, going through the degrees of Virgo. And it's a matter of being discriminating and finishing up old business, getting ready for the progressed moon to eventually go into the sign of Libra, however you wish to pronounce it, and so forth. We need to look, at whatever aspects and transits will be going on during those times, which again, we don't have time right now to go into. This is kind of a basic here. So that was, and again, when I look at this chart, it's just, there's so many things about it. The moon itself being in conjunction with Saturn, Saturn sitting right exactly on the midpoint of this rim of the bowl that we have here. We are the bowl. And we are all on the left-hand side here, which means very self-contained and very powerful. How to put it out into the world is going to be one of our challenges. We may need or to think about some changes in how we do that during the coming time. With Aquarius there on the ascendant, it means maybe some interestingly, maybe even sudden changes at certain times due to circumstances, whatever. But Saturn and the moon being in Pisces, very close together there. And Saturn sits right there. The midpoint of the bowl, as I say, very interestingly, is right there on our ascendant. It happens to be at 25 of Aquarius. If you were to take the Venus, which is up there at the top, and if you were to go down there again to Saturn, the other end of the bowl, the rim again of the bowl, I'm sorry, Uranus at the very bottom. That aspect itself is called a quincunx, and it's a very tight orb, which means it's even more powerful. That's 150 degrees. That usually means some fairly major adjustments in how one protects, or a group protects, not protects, projects itself into whatever arena or area of service they wish to do so. We may find ourselves finding some interesting ways to go here, is all I'm trying to say. And the midpoint is a point of power, very powerful point. And that's again at the ascendant there, which doesn't always happen. Okay, I'm going to read you now, real briefly. I'm getting wordy here. There's so much to do. But let me read you the Sadian symbol for 20 for that degree. Okay. All right, I have to find it. Sorry. An ancient pottery bowl filled with violets. Wow. That just was amazing to me. We are a bowl. Look at us. We're a bowl. The symbol, an ancient pottery bowl filled with violets. The meaning that I synthesized out of many that I looked at was the true service of love is based on projecting outward from something that has been created, the pottery bowl, the amazing creation of this particular kind of group over the past year and over the past years, actually, in the making, coming up to that point. So it's containing something of great beauty, but it depends on what you put in that bowl. And we have flowers to give. Look at our healing garden. Look at the beauty of that. Okay, I could go on with that, but this is your homework, people. I'd love to hear anybody's ideas on what that means to you. And that might be fun to just kind of look at and speak to when we get a chance again. Okay? That's some homework for everybody. What does that mean to you when that symbol is conjured up? That's our ascendant. That esoterically, again, the ascendant, as DK says, being what is our major dharmic, our dharma, our purpose. Where are we headed here? Aside from the sun, which is our status as to who we are now, and our projection as we are, and our moon, which is in the past and what we're trying to bring forward, and get rid of what we don't need and incorporate what we need to. It's let me see. I had a couple of other things about that. Might have to wait. Okay. I've taken enough time. I got a lot more here, but thank you for being patient with me. And again, if it's not, I'm sure, what you expected, but I hope it gives you some sort of an overall view of what we might be about here. And again, it might be something, if you'd like to pursue any of these areas I've kind of touched on, I'd be more than willing to do that with you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Susie. I love the idea of the bowl of violets. To me, it's very
Yeah.
significant. And as you say,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
our chart is like a bowl that's offered, and it's full of violets, and Aquarius, with its ruler Uranus,
Yes.
you know, is the seventh ray, transmits the seventh ray, which is violet.
Aha.
So,
Yes. Yeah. You know, that reminds me, Nicole, of one of the wonderful references that I ran across. I asked for guidance in finding, because there are so many out there. My goodness, one can get just lost. This one referred to an actual experience that was recorded somewhere about someone who spent the last day with Madame Blavatsky, and and as she was passing, he was holding her hand and reminding her of all, the things they'd shared together and all the wisdom and this and that. But his most how can I put this? His most poignant and meaningful memory from that day with her was when she, by the way, that's another flower, is the forget-me-not in that bowl. When she handed him a forget-me-not that was in her hand, and she expressed to him what his friendship and service had been to her. And he said, no matter what wisdom she poured forth, no matter what personal relationship we had, that's what will stay with me. And I kind of pondered that. And again, homework, everybody. What do you think that represented to him? That gesture and that particular flower. And I think that was kind of interesting. Yeah. Yeah. The progressed moon actually involves well, kind of like a focus, an evolving journey towards an identity. And it's like mm, again, it's an area to look at of all that we have been, the bowl, all that this group and each individual member of the group has in their causal body to contribute to the bowl, this beautiful container. But the container can have whatever each of our flowers is as we put that in there, and whatever aspect of beauty or truth or goodness comes from everyone who has each in their own offering something that we wish to give, to present to the world as a memory of beauty and as a memory of growth, um, nurturance. So thank you. Yep. Bye.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you, Susie. That's
Yeah.
very insightful. I really like that idea. And as you know, Ray 7 is the concretization. It's the new world order at the moment of the Aquarian age.
Oh, yes. Good point. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the Ray 7 coming through. So
Yeah.
we are to concretize things.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that really adds to the stellium here in Capricorn, which is
Very
all about concretization.
absolutely. And if you look at this chart, I've never seen this in any other chart. This sequential sextiles, the number 6 again, the date that this group was formed adds up to a 6. Again, homework, everybody. See what you come up with your ideas on what the 6, the higher master number being 33. See what you come up with as part of that. That's our destiny number, the date of inception of a soul or of a group soul or whatever. Yeah, so that would be interesting. It's point of destiny. It's the destiny number is the 6. The sequential sextiles are also a 6. And
Wow.
and there are about 6 what I call couplets here. We have a you know, a Mercury Mars there. They're a couple. They're conjunction. We have the Sun Pluto. Wow, that one's right on. That's a big one to explore, I think, in the future. Yeah, 24 degrees of Capricorn. And then we have the Moon Saturn one, and so on and so on. We have the Chiron on the North Node. What more could a healing group want than that? Yeah. So there's a lot of things to consider, like I say, in the future.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Susie. And are there any questions or comments that you would like to make to Susie before we ask Mady to present her, to give her presentation?
This isn't a question, but this is just a little bit. She mentioned Blavatsky, and I have a little excerpt from Helen Roerich, Letters of Helena Roerich, Volume 1, about Blavatsky. She was talking about her death, and thus in 1924, our compatriot H.P. Blavatsky joined the White Brotherhood in a male body of a Hungarian nationality. Ridiculed, slandered, persecuted, she has taken her place among the saviors of humanity. So I just want to add that. So
I just read that today myself, Javon, in conjunction with this comment that he went on to say about the flower in her hand that she handed him, and how that left a lasting impact. I just did that today too. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me pass you on now to Mady.
Hello. Good evening.
Hi, Mady.
Hi. Hello, Nicole. It's an honor and a blessing, and thank you for inviting me to participate in this enlightening and celebratory, right? This celebration,
Yes.
the beauty of a year for this community, for this group. And Nicole,
Yes.
yeah, congratulations to us all, to you, for your determination, hard work, and continue to do this. And we're grateful, we're thankful for you to be doing this, right? And so can you put me as co-host so I can share my screen with the chart?
Yes.
Oh, yes, please.
Odile?
I'm gonna talk about the chart a little bit, and like you asked, just a small comment on. Oh, thank you. Yeah, some observations on transits, probably probably the progression, but mainly I want to focus on your solar return, which is the birthday, the celebration of 1 year of this work. And the chart is so auspicious that I was like, what a blessing, what a blessing. If this was a person, you wouldn't believe what the charts actually are showing to this work. This is a blessed group, Nicole. And yeah, you're blessed. So this is the chart, right? This is the natal chart for the esoteric healing website. This is the day it started. It was January 15, 2024. And this is the time that you elected. And these are the aspects and the degrees, the planets, like Susie was talking about. When this community started, he had the ascendant in Aquarius, in the decan of Venus, with Saturn and Moon in the first house, right, in 11 degrees. So this was a year ago, 2024, Venus in the 10th house, the stellium, which is a group of of planets together, more than 4 planets together in the 11th house, which is a higher Aquarian level, 2 times the Aquarian message in this work. Venus also repeated in this chart a couple of times. So we talked about this in last year, right, Nicole? And now the progression, as Susie was explaining to all of you, the chart progressed. So what does it mean? It moves slowly in progression. It moves very slowly. So the moon, when a year ago, when we started this community, you started the website, the moon was 11 Pisces. And now after a year, look at how auspicious this is, how beautiful this is. Today, January 16, 2025, in this celebration of anniversary, the progressed moon of our website, your website, is conjunct Neptune at 25 degrees of Pisces. So auspicious, so beautiful, isn't it? It's almost like if I was asking myself, did she know that? Is that why she did? Because the progressed moon is conjoined Neptune today in Pisces, bringing the beauty in the transformation that this group has gone through 1 year, 12 months, right? And usually in progressions, what moves more is the moon, like Susie already said, and the sun also moves, but the sun moves just 1 degree per year. So last year, the chart, the original chart, the natal chart of the website was 24 degrees. So 1 year later, this progressed sun, as we call, the progressed sun will be at 25 of Capricorn. In the progressed moon, the moon is the only one that moves a little bit more. The progressed moon moved a little bit more. It's 2 years for each 30 degrees, 3 years and a half average. So today it is with Neptune in Pisces in the 2nd house. And the reason I'm highlighting this is because the meaning of it is very much, and then I'll move to the solar return, which is the birthday chart. It's very aligned. The message of this conjunction is very much aligned with the solar return of this chart. It is in Pisces in the 2nd house, right? It is 25 degrees. Usually in Sabian symbols, we look the degree above, ahead, we round up. And and you can look on the degree before, you can look in the degree after. And the moon, progressed moon conjunct Neptune in Pisces, means that there is Neptune again is the ruler, the exoteric ruler of Pisces. There is an affirmation of the spiritual purpose of this group, and the group has stepped up. There is something about the message that I want to bring to us is there is something that has increased the self-esteem of this group. This group is 1 step above. It feels like the work that you have been doing, Nicole, it has grown probably in the community, or probably the people who are in front of this work are feeling more confident that it actually makes a difference. And you're ready to step up and apply for more. Actually, self-esteem, the 2nd house, has a lot to do with value, resources, ability, self-esteem. And in a spiritual level is my service. I know how I serve in truth, and the earth is my witness, as the Buddha said. The earth, my work is my witness that what we bring here is of value. And and this message is repeated somewhere else. There is some in the Sabian symbol for this 26 degree of Pisces is freedom of choice. It's exercise of free will. It's a sense that something new is coming in the horizon for the group as the group has grown in self-esteem. Also, the possibility of seeing things and claiming for more might appear, or more ideas or publications or something. What are we going to write and create through the world? And then I'll move to the solar return with that message, because usually astrologers, we look for messages that are repeated. We see it in the progression, we see it in the transits, and we see the same message in solar returns. We call it the rule of three, meaning if a message is repeated 3 times, of course, decay the triangle, right? So if the message is repeated 3 times in a chart, then you can actually say, this is a prediction here. Something really tangible is happening here. So, and when we look at this group, all the charts for the group, if you look, for example, as I looked here, the second progression, you see the progressed moon in the second house of value self-worth. If you look in transits for the group, the transits for today, this Uranus has crossed the IC. It has just crossed the IC of esoteric healings possibilities, meaning Uranus is also representing that new freedom. There is something about freedom in this group that is in the horizon. And finally, now I'm going to focus on the solar return. So solar return is a chart that astrologers usually open and cast when the sun is exactly at the same degree it was a year before. That's why we call solar return. So usually the solar return is not on the same day. For example, this solar return was the website, the esoteric healing solar return was not on the January 15. It was on January 14, which is very common because that's when the sun went back to the same degree and second of when it was created, right? So this is the solar return chart. And look at this solar return right there, the ascendant. What does it mean, a solar return? It means that these are the energies for the group for this coming year. The group will be receiving these archetypal energies and this, or it will be co-creating this kind of energies for this year to come. And the ascendant for the group for this year is Taurus, within the decan, Venus decan, and the degree is 9, which we round up to 10, and look at the Sabian symbol of 10 degrees of Taurus. The Sabian symbol of 10 degrees of Taurus is compassion. The name is a Red Cross nurse. Compassion. The raising of love from the personal level to the level of sacredness in service. Compassionate service. We're able to take our powerful faith into service of humanity to help others make the journey themselves from darkness into light. Personal love can be raised to a higher level as we radiate our light, not just to close loved ones, but to all and everyone. So there is something about this year, and it's Taurus, which is related again to the second house, and Jupiter, the Lord of love, second ray, is in Gemini, second ray, in the second house. So there is something about this group for this coming year that has grown into value, has grown into worth and appreciation internally and externally. And the group is ready to an added freedom. I don't know what that freedom might mean, but the three charts, the transit chart, the progressed moon chart with the progressed moon conjoining Neptune, which is a blessing from Lord Neptune, the goddess of compassion, Guan Yin, telling this group that actually you've done your service for a year and now you're ready to serve more, I don't know, with more freedom or more widely. I don't know what that means to the group because you're the ones who guide the group, but I'm sure that you know in your hearts what's happening and what it means. So Uranus in this first house is saying that, remember that in the natal chart of the group, Saturn was in the first house, right? Let me bring that back here so you can remember. You had Saturn with the moon, which means prove your worth, prove your work, do diligence, do your work. And it's ray 3, right? It's a lot of activities, a lot of work. Do what you're supposed to do, and let's see what happens. But then a year later, the first house has Uranus saying, you've done the work. You've done the work because progressed moon is with Neptune now and it's being blessed. And the ascendant for the solar return is the goddess of compassion. It's service, is the opportunity. See, the reward for the ones who serve well is to being able to serve even more. So that's the blessing and the gift that the solar angels are bringing to this chart, because now this year you might have more freedom, or you might feel a feeling or a sense to be more free, to be more, almost like more upfront, and speak up more and say what this group is about. And because it's Uranus in the first house, I know who I am in truth. And when I know who I am, then I know what to do better, right? So Michael would say that. So it definitely, there is something about more resources also, because Jupiter in the second house, Uranus in Taurus, the ascendant being in Taurus, and Venus with Saturn in the 10th house of initiation and work. Saturn and Venus being together there is something in this group that is ready to probably receive more funds, receive more resources, being acknowledged and recognized as a group, probably with, and then I'm going to talk about this Mars moon in Cancer in the 3rd house for its healing, for its capacity to create a container, the lighted house for the ones who want to heal, want to serve humanity through healing, esoteric healing. In these studies, probably writing more, because this Mars moon is in the 3rd house, opposing the sun in the 9th house. So the solar return, usually in solar returns, sorry, I didn't say this on the beginning. Usually in solar returns, we look at, let me go back to my sharing. Usually in solar returns, I pressed the wrong button. We look at the sun at the north node to know the direction of the year, and the ascendant. Those are the 3 main points of a solar return. It's the sun, the house it is, the north node and the house it is and sign, and the ascendant. So I talked about the ascendant, which is compassion and the possibility to serve more. The sun is in the 9th house, in Capricorn, of course, because that's the original sign. So there is something about ready for any spiritual uplifting, ready for receiving high recognition is in the 9th house, being seen and recognized for what it is. And with Mercury in Capricorn in the 8th here, it's also bringing that sense of probably receiving resources that you didn't expect before, and because it's the 8th house, and bringing those new resources, renewed possibilities and investments, and actually use that for higher education with the material of this group. Writings, teachings, communication. So there is a lot of abundance all over this chart. There is a message of abundance, writings, new ideas, new plans, publication, and the possibility to express out there, to actually be seen, because the tasks, Saturn, that needed to be done were done. So there is a divine timing with this group. And the North Node in Pisces in the 11th house, conjoining Neptune. These are a group of philanthropic friends. This is a group of people who are renewing old dreams that are being brought back. And in this year, you're going to find more community, more people, more friends with common hopes and dreams to serve into healing. So it's a very auspicious year for the group. You can count on close, loving partnerships that might come even more. And actually, the chart is saying, the 3 charts are saying, know that this work will be recognized, will be acknowledged. And maybe it is the time to actually, whatever ideas, new ideas that you all might have, this is a good time to bring that out and to express those ideas into the world. So congratulations. I was so happy for us, for this group, for you, Nicole, and you, Susie, and Joe, who always dedicated, and Wendy or Yvonne, who are always dedicating to this work, because it seems like it's just beginning. It's going to be more prominent and bigger this year to come. The world is in need and need you more.
Thank you so much, Mady. That's very, very insightful and very helpful for us to be aware of what's coming our way. But just a little comment here. The 9th house and the 3rd house, Michael always used to say that's the Anticorana.
That's the Anticorana.
And the moon being in the 3rd house of the lower mind, right? In other words, we've left this behind, and we are actually building this, the Anticorana of the higher mind, and that's where our sun is. So
Yes.
I thought that was very significant.
Mhm.
And Pluto being also in that 9th house, and in Aquarius, it means that we are going to be really focusing and intensifying our efforts in the building of the Anticorana, and bringing down from the higher mind down to the lower mind all these qualities of Aquarius and precipitating them because of the conjunction of the Aquarius and Capricorn of crystallization. So I thought that was very significant.
Yes, thank you, Nico. I was actually, I thank you for bringing that up. I was expecting you to really bring the Antakarana here for us, and with Mercury, right? The Lord
Yes.
Antakarana, it's in the
Yeah.
eighth house. That's the symbolism of that rising up, rising in emotional, the astral, emotional,
Mm.
right? Because the moon with Mars is those two non-sacred planets being brought up into the light of the world and in healing.
Yes. Yeah, I was
Um,
noticing that too, that the non-sacred planets being addressed as part of the bridge were lifted up. Excellent. And also Pluto being a non-sacred planet, but illuminated by the sun. And the whole idea of look at the full moon aspect of this, this whole, again, kind of like a rim of the bowl is under almost like a full moon symbolism here. Yeah,
mm.
As
Go ahead, Tia, as soon as Susie is finished.
I'm done.
Ah, okay. Go ahead, Tia.
I think we've
Just
run out.
unmute yourself.
I think we've run out of time, but and I'm
Yeah.
gonna double check the charts because I have a little bit. Mine was a little bit different than what Mady came up with. And
I'm willing to
we.
stay. I'm willing to stay.
No, I'll do it the next time. I actually because I intend to address the North Node and the South Node in the chart, and also the Chiron in the
Great.
chart. And as a free bonus for all the people who are here, if you send me your birth time, um, if you send me your birth time, where you were born, and all that good stuff, I will do. I will run a transit chart because as I go through and sort of teach this Chiron, which really will help unlock your soul purpose, also with your North Node and South Node by using this chart. It'll be very helpful to the individual members. So you'll have one that you can refer to because I'll give general information for all the houses because the houses are the plane of action where the energies that pour through the signs allow us to unfold and evolve as we go through the evolutionary. And also the ninth and the third, the building of the Antakarana is not only just to bring it, our challenge as a group is to take the ancient wisdom, not only to bring it down, but be able to communicate it effectively in the new
Yes.
Pluto and Aquarius age. So, because the South Node, the where we feel comfortable is to be in our head, and to go up, into the higher realms. We're not so good from our chart in communicating that. And that's going to feel different because you have to try to find a common language with other people in the collective that may not be exposed to the precise language that we have or we're familiar with in the ancient Bailey works, but they, are very much intuitively getting it. And so we have to be able to cross groups and be able to communicate with the collective and bring the ancient fires into the new age. So that is our challenge. But if anybody wants me to run their chart and they can look at it and go around, because I will go around what the North and South Node means for each house, if you have that personal placement, which you might find helpful as I go through that. And I'll also go through the what it means to have Chiron in a specific house, because they say, the Chiron is the wound that you may have brought in from a past life, and then it's the healing of that wound that you can turn into one of your gifts that you can use to help humanity. The wounded healer. That's why it's Chiron. So stay tuned, and you guys all have my email address. So if you want me to send you your personal chart,
So Tia, next week, is it possible then for you to present your thoughts?
Yeah.
We'll get together again, I think, because we don't have time today.
No.
So if you wouldn't mind, perhaps next week we'll do the same thing after the triangle of synthesis meditation. Then you can present your thoughts. That would be wonderful. And thank you for your cooperation and contribution. And are there any other comments to Maidi's presentation? Although I wanted to make a comment on one of the previous, was it the transit? Maidi, can you go back to maybe the transit? I'm not sure whether, yes, this one.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that, you know, the fourth house is the house of the personal master, whereas the 10th house is hierarchy in general, you know, the whole of the hierarchy. And Uranus moving into the fourth house of our personal masters, I thought that was significant too.
Yes, yes, please. And also you feel free, other people also, to comment on the things that you know, because that I love what you said, Tia. This is one of the things with this Mercury in the 8th house. It's the dialogue, learning to co-create together, right? It's amazing. But this is very beautiful to see Jupiter in the 4th house, right? Opposing Venus again, Jupiter in the solar chart and here in the transits. So the group will have the great advocates for humanity, Lord Jupiter and Uranus, race 7 of healing, and ray 2 of love and compassion, both
healing.
And healing, both rays of healing in the 4th house as feeding the foundation of this structure of the group, right?
Yeah. Go ahead, Tia, please don't raise your hand.
I just wanted to say also, one of the things we've had such an emphasis on Capricorn and crystallization as in the notion of it being able to bring it down in sort of concretized level or 3D level. But also Michael taught extensively on Capricorn crystallization as evolving to a point where, you know, you can't go any further. And so the form has to die because, you know, you have become so crystallized and stuck. And so the thing is for because this group coming out of a Pluto in Capricorn to a Pluto in Aquarius, you know, it's about moving into that 7th ray and that 5th ray adaptability, you know, and not being so fixed. That's the challenge, you know. And that goes again back to that 9th and 3rd house and building the Antakarana. One way of looking at the ancient teachings and being fixed that it has to come a certain way. I mean, I always think about Master DK when he's in Ponder on This and he's talking about white magic. And he says, you know, after he wrote it, he said it was limited for what it was worth. But when he wrote it, that meant that consciousness, even for the master, was evolving, even after he wrote on white magic. And so we have to be more flexible, more adaptable. And because now we're moving into these outer planets of fire and air, things are moving more quickly. You know, our movement in itself will die if we're not able to do that. I mean, it will become concretized. I mean, that's that is the challenge. That is what we have to be. And sometimes we have to look at the shadow side of ourselves and the negative aspects to see what needs to be purified, what needs to be clean. You know, we can't pat ourselves on the back all the time. We have to sometimes say, you know, because there's some glaring things in our chart that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, that whole idea, Tia, that's great. That goes back to the idea again of I was trying to think, you know, what the symbology of, to me, of the full moon aspect of this, of that opposition we were talking about between the sun, Pluto, and then Mars, moon. Yeah, that's the end maybe of the crystallization aspects of Capricorn, or the full moon representing usually some cycle coming to a close and another one ready to begin, kind of thing.
The anaretic degree of Capricorn is the most karmic aspect of Capricorn. But if you look back, you know, to the last time, you know, when it won't be in this lifetime, but if you look at the north nodes, when our north nodes and south nodes were in there, it was 18 years ago. And so you would have to go back 18 years and see where you were or how you addressed that Pluto and Capricorn lessons, and did you apply them? You know, because in the early degrees, when it moves into the new sign, that's the karmic return when Saturn comes back. And the question is, have you learned your lessons? Have you passed your tests? And if not, then you have to go on that timeline again. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
the chart is possibilities of energies. And if you can unlock your chart and work with your chart, you can, you know, anticipate your tests and actually deal with your own internal dialogue as to what you need to do as far as what you were supposed to learn and master and grow in this lifetime. I mean, that's what the Tibetan wanted people to use the chart for the healing and for knowing how to work with themselves, how to evolve, and how we can help other people use their chart in that way. You know, the lower personality and what the soul was trying to bring through is as much as we can intuit and guesstimate it from the calculations. Right?
Tia, could I
Yes.
perhaps clarify something with you
Mm-hmm.
here? When you're saying that 18 years ago, now
Mm-hmm.
18 years ago, we didn't exist, right?
No, I'm talking, but I said when I was talking about the people, I said I was going to do it for what was on
Oh,
our
I
chart,
see.
but
Right,
also I
right.
was going to give the information for people who are working for their own personal, what they could do for their own personal north node and south node. So it's helping the individual and the collective.
But I guess
Yeah,
too,
those are
we
the
were
flowers
being
in the bowl. Those are the flowers in the bowl, each of us individually contributing whatever. So that
Right.
would be helpful for each of us to have more of an understanding of what might be our potential to contribute. Good idea.
yes, yes.
And also, I love what Ben commented in the chat room. He said, with this Uranus in the first house, the basic goal is the freedom and the liberation of mankind. So healing, right? The compassionate healing of this Taurus, ultimately Uranus in Taurus, the goal is liberation and freedom of mankind. Very beautiful. Thank you.
But then we need to ask ourselves, freedom from what? So it's the detachment of the consciousness from the trammels of matter, you know, the three lower vehicles. In other words, being the soul, being able to be objective and detached from the three lower vehicles. To me, this is what that's pointing to. And it's helping humanity to detach consciously, on a conscious level, I mean, from the astral world, from the mental currents, and be more liberated and not being swayed by either astral currents or mental currents or public opinion. Stand on your own 2 feet, have your own opinion, and have the strength to stand up and be counted and express your opinion with confidence. Is that correct? Right? We, especially in a Taurus. So it's the expression, the values. That's what's coming through for us as disciples. It's the qualities of the sign which are important. So what's important here is that the values of this, as you said, Mady, the self-esteem, the confidence, all the rest of it, of Taurus, that are coming to the fore and are being made practical, being made, physical, actually expressed on the physical plane.
And that goes along with that 7th ray in Taurus. I mean, 7th ray in Uranus. It's the combination of both of them is to bring for the disciple. That's what Master DK said, that that mind down into the physical and to be able to apply it.
Mm.
Yeah, and 2 themes that I saw repeatedly in both 3 charts were freedom and value. Freedom and value and expression. So because the healing is already here. It's almost like this is the stamp of this existence. I'm here to heal, and I'm healing, and I'm doing the work, and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces are blessing and saying, yes, you are. And now the lords are giving that freedom and more abundance and value or worth to this group to say who you are. Right? Is that what you're mentioning, Nicole? But I thought it was so interesting. It's almost like the group is being elevated to the hierarchy as the sun moves to the 9th house and going to the top with Pluto.
Yeah, because they are the most elevated planets, aren't they? In the chart.
In the chart, yes. More power to this group, more power, more value.
Yeah.
But all Uranus and Taurus also sort of the unfolding of the spiritual consciousness through illumination, and also this whole notion of, again, opening up the Ajna Center, the Antakarana, and using our physical etheric body to bring down those higher spiritual truths that we're bringing through the Uranian mind. That Taurus should help us do that, working with our chakra system.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I'll touch on the chakras next time when I'll present.
Okie doke.
Okay.
Yeah. Wonderful. Very illuminating, both Susie and Mady, and of course Tia, Tia's contribution to adding to these 2 presenters. Thank you so much, guys. At least we know who we are and where we're heading. You've given us a clearer picture.